Hi guys, it's Tracy here, and I just wanted to share my Christmas village with you guys. I've had a couple of requests for some YouTube videos that show what my village looks like when it's finished. It's actually, unfortunately, not finished yet. It is December the 8th, I believe, and I still haven't finished it, but that's just because of a little bit of a glitch that I'll explain in a few minutes. So it is more than halfway done. The city part is done, but it's the forest, the mountainous forest, and the very back table that is not finished yet, and I will explain why in a minute. What I thought I would do is just kind of go through each of my buildings so I can tell you a little bit about each of them and some of the final touches. I've had a couple of requests for my process for this, and I actually was videotaping it, but I was videotaping it more for myself than for other people, because I found that this year I had forgotten what I did last year because I didn't document it as well last year. And so I do have a process video. I wasn't planning to upload it, but if I have time I might upload it. I might not get to do that until after Christmas though. But anyways, if you're interested in my process for how I set it up, it's kind of lengthy and I don't know. Anyways, I'm willing to put it up if you guys want. I was just going to hang on to it myself. So I'm going to start in this corner right here with my TV station. This is a Department 56 item that I purchased used on eBay, and it's really cute. It has this little weather guy in the window. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see it. Let me make sure I'm zoomed out all the way. So I got to get my camera in here. Sorry. Yeah, you're not going to be able to really see it. But there's a cute little camera guy in the window. Maybe you can see it in this window. Yeah, there he is. And these Department 56 buildings are really beautiful. They're a little bit more expensive than the Lemax, which is the brand that I started with. And you can get Lemax fairly easily locally here in Canada. They have them at Kent Building Supplies and at Michael's, and I think they used to be at Zeller's. I don't know if they're at Target now that Target took over. But they're fairly easy to get, but this is not one of them. This is Department 56, which is a little bit more expensive and harder for me to find here locally in Nova Scotia, but they're really beautiful. They're beautifully painted with lots of detail, and you see how the paint doesn't go off the edges. Like, the windows are painted very beautifully with the blue is only in the place where the blue is supposed to go instead of being more messily painted. So anyways, as I mentioned, all of my Department 56 pieces are used from collectors on eBay who have been, I got a whole bunch of pieces from somebody who was downsizing. So this TV station was one of them. I've had it for, I think, 2 years now. This might be my third year with this one. It's really, really cute. I love all the detail. Those little trees are part of the house, and they're the little bristle brush trees. They're really, really cute. So that's my TV station. It has a little light that blinks on top as well as the light inside of the building itself. Then next door, this is what I consider the mayor's house. It's a little bit different than the other houses because it's made out of plastic and it has all of these lights that you can turn on. You have to press the button to get it to work. This house is from Avon, and it actually was not a lit house. It was given to me as a gift, I think 2 years ago, from one of Scott's aunts. And I just wanted it to match the other buildings, so I got Scott to put a light inside of it, and that just involved cutting the back of, like, taking off the back of the plastic and then cutting a hole for the cord to go out. And now it's lit up constantly along with the other buildings, but it also has this little light display that you can press the button and see. It's really cute. I like that the Christmas tree outside gets lit up too. So I really love this house. It's really beautiful. And it's fancier and a little bit larger than the other houses in my building, so that's why I'm considering it to be like the mayor's house. It's something fancy. So because it's fancy, I got this glitter fence to go around it this year at Michael's. This was in the miniatures. Look at the display. This was in the miniature section of the Michael's Christmas decorations. You can get like all kinds of miniature things. I don't think it's made for villages because it's not with the village stuff, but it's really cute. Another new addition to, well, not another, but the new additions to the village this year are all fire department related. So I got this firefighter who's rescuing a kitten from a tree, and it's like the most cute little display I have. It's my very favorite display. So the firefighter holding the kitten comes on the ladder, so the red ladder is attached to the firefighter. And then this tree is really awesome. It's a ceramic tree, but the ends of it are made out of wire and they're actually flexible, so you can kind of make it in whatever shape you want. And there's a little is that a cardinal? The red bird? The red Christmassy bird? So anyways, there's a bird up in the tree that I guess supposedly the kitten was after, and that's what got him up in the tree. And then there's this little girl who's waiting anxiously for the firefighter to rescue her cat, and she's got her arms out and she's looking up. She has her head tilted up and her body tilted back, and it's just like the cutest little expression ever. I love how expressive this display is, and this is also from Department 56, so I bought this new this year from eBay, and I love it. Love, love, love it. So then the third building that's on the back here is a Lemax building, and this was one of my first two buildings. It might be the first building I ever got. It's a bed and breakfast, and it has beautiful details. You'll notice that it's not quite as well crafted as the Department 56 pieces are, but it's still really, really beautiful with lots of details. There's a little hanging sign there that actually hangs, and it actually, you know, dangles and moves, and lots of little gardening details. I put that tree didn't come with it. This, oops, I can't touch it. This tree right here is a tree that I added, and it has a little porch, and there's even a swing on the porch that actually swings. So there's the swing right behind the fountain. And then I also have these little Lemax snow figures. They're snowmen, and I think my mom got those for me one year for Christmas, so I always put those outside of the bed and breakfast. And so that's the back row of the city. And now here is another building in my city. It's the furniture store. It says Barsum's Furniture, and it has a little display in the window. It's also from Lemax, as is this scene right here. So this is a separate purchase. It's puppies sale, Christmas puppies for sale. And it has this little family looking at this little box of puppies. One of them has a Santa hat, and then there's another person just holding one of the puppies, falling in love with it. There's the entrance to the furniture store, and I put another little tree outside of the furniture store, a little cream-colored tree. And I don't pay too much attention to the era of my buildings, so this building doesn't necessarily match with this building here, but I figure in a city that's developed over time, there will be old buildings and new buildings in it, kind of like Halifax is, the city where I live. And also I'm just trying to be more whimsical and not really caring about that sort of thing. So one of the things, this is my new building for this year, it's the fire station, and one of the things I love about it is this is Department 56, and the detail on these buildings is awesome. It has these three little, in the back of it, which isn't even, you know, like the main part of it, it has these three little dog houses, and it says Cinder under the big one, and then Smokey and Sparky under on the little ones. So three little dog houses for the fire dogs. And I also got, it was a separate purchase, but I got the fire dogs that go with this one. So there's one, that's the grown-up dog, that must be Cinder, and he's trying to pull the fire hat away from these two little boys. It's really cute. See if I can get in there close so that you can see that. Sorry if my hand is shaking, but it's really sweet. And the Department 56 figurines are quite a bit bigger than the Lemax, and they're actually not to scale with the buildings, so that's something to think about if you're trying to decide which brand to get. I find that the Department 56 people really tower over some of the accessories. But again, I don't think too much about it. I try not to think too carefully about it. And then these figurines also came with that same set. So these are the two little puppies that go in the dog houses. So there are 3 fire dogs, a mama and 2 puppies. And then this is a firefighter who's bent over giving a boy his hat. So these are supposed to go together, but I separated them just because I didn't have room for everything on the front street here. So this again is Department 56, this fire station. It has a bell that really rings. And there's the entrance. It's fire station number 3. Department 56 makes a couple of different fire stations. On this side, there is a fire truck in the bay. And then on this side, the bay is empty, but you can see into it, and it's not a facade. It actually does go in. And then there's little paintings on the edges of that bay with, you know, the firefighters' tools and coats and ladders and stuff like that. So it looks like a real fire station bay. It's really cute. That's fire station number 3. It even has the little street lights with 3 on them that are lit up, and another ladder right there. And the street lights that I have are from Department 56. The set consists of these stop lights, some stop signs, and some parking meters. So there's one of them right there. And then these street lights right here are Lemax. And they just run the whole length of my city street. So this next building is also by Department 56, although it must be from a different collection because it's not shiny, whereas my other Department 56 buildings like this one and this one are shiny. This one is a matte, but it's still beautifully detailed, really gorgeous finishing work on these, especially compared to the Lemax ones. And there's 2 little ladies in there, and it's not painted on. There are actually little figurines in there of a lady getting her hair done and her nails done by the looks of it. And look at the floor. Even the floor is like made to look like a tile floor. It's really pretty. And these little decorative trees come with the building, and that's what the side of the building looks like. It has a little sign there that advertises the salon. It's really cute. And then outside of the salon is Santa giving away some kittens. A little box of kittens behind him. He's giving that kitten to that little girl. So that's the second building in the front line. And then no city is complete without a Starbucks. This is my very first Department 56 purchase ever. I got it used on eBay a couple of years back, and I absolutely love it. It is awesome. And it's a triangular building, so it would look good on a corner. It has this really nice lit up window with the like a stained glass look to it. It's got some goodies sitting on a counter and some cups all stacked up and a plant. And then there are wreaths hanging on all the windows and some snow collecting on the awnings. Another little stained glass window with a little display in it. I put these 2 little trees here on either side of the door. And then this gazebo is also Department 56, but the people inside of it are Lemax. You can tell the Lemax because look at their faces. They're sort of distorted. Well, they're smaller people. They fit more to scale, but they're not as well painted as the Department 56 people. So if you see, I'll zoom in so that you can really see the detail on these guys. So that's what they look like. And then if you pause for a second, this is what the details on the Department 56 people look like. So quite a bit more detailed. Just slightly better quality as opposed to these people right here are Lemax. And these people. So I have that bench right over there in front of Starbucks is a Lemax bench. These tiny little benches here, which are a much smaller scale, are Lemax benches, are Department 56 benches, and they're very good quality. They're little metal benches, and I ran them all along here, and that's sort of to hide the wiring from this, and that's why I have this hedge here too, to hide the wiring from these, because there's a lot of wiring in between each of these, so I had to bunch it up and put twist ties and put it underneath of this to hide it. And then I just have little floral pins holding this in place, and it goes down into the foam. All of this is sitting on foam, so none of this is on my table, on the bare table. There's a layer of foam about this thick so that things can stick into it. I can stick things down with pins if I wanted to. So I have decorated throughout with rocks and branches from my garden, from my yard, and this is one of those. And so what I did one year was I just collected a bunch of rocks from my yard, cleaned them up, washed them in the sink, and I just used them over and over again every year. I just put the rocks away in a Ziploc bag when I'm done with my village. So this is my second favorite scene here. I've got sort of like little vignettes set up around town. So the fire person rescuing the kitten is one, and this one is another. I've got a somebody giving out puppies. I've got a Santa giving out kittens. I've got some scenarios with the firefighter dogs and the kids, and now this is another one. So this is a Lemax tree. It's an accent tree that I bought from Michael's, and then this ladder with the 3 people is a Department 56 decoration. It's also in matte instead of the shiny glazed paint on it, and it's this man on the ladder, and he's holding on to some lights that also came with the decoration. I've just draped the lights on the tree so it looks like he's in the middle of decorating the tree. And then there's this boy down there helping him, and he's got the box full of the extra lights. There he is right there. And then there's another man here holding the ladder for him. So they're all separate pieces. So the lights and the boy all come together. The man is separate and he goes on the ladder. He doesn't go on very well. I had to use some putty to keep him on there. And then that man is a separate piece as well. The ladder is really nicely made. I love the ladder. So I think that's a really cute piece. I wish I didn't have to put it in behind something, but it's just kind of the way that it worked this year. It might go someplace a little bit more central next year. So next is my train. I have talked about my train on other Christmas Village videos from other years. This is a $30 Sears train. It's super, super cheap, and because of that, it's loud and probably not the best looking train in the world, but it adds some interest to my village and some motion. So I'm going to turn it on. It is loud and a little bit obnoxious, so sorry about that. But there it is. And I just put some some wreaths from Michael's in the back of one of the cars, and it'll come out this is a tunnel that I made out of styrofoam. And here it comes. I'm going to turn it off so that you can hear me. So yes, I made the tunnel out of styrofoam. Next year, I think I'm going to connect these two and have like a tunnel that goes here instead of having it come out of there and have this awkward kind of place here. And then I can use that space to put a path up. I like my areas to be connected to one another. And so there's this area up here isn't connected to anything. Those people have no way of getting there. So I do like to connect them because I think it just makes it look more cohesive as a village. So next year I'm going to do something about that and have like the train come out from here instead of coming out on the side there. Anyhow, for now this is the way it is. And what I did was I just carved the styrofoam with my styrofoam cutter, and then I painted it with craft paint, just like a really rough paint job. Every year I'm going to add a little bit more to the paint job, although next year I might just cover over it with a new structure. This year I added this little ledge with some rocks and plants on it, and painted it a little bit more. There's moss around the edges of it. Not sure if you can see that in the video. And I have a little lighted train crossing light. These trees here that you see throughout my village are just blueberry bushes from my yard that I just cut. When the leaves fall off of them, they look like deciduous trees. They look like little miniature deciduous trees. So here's one that I put a tire swing on, this one right here. It's just from my garden, and I put a piece of styrofoam underneath of it so that I could just poke it in. And there's another one right there, another one back there, and a couple more in the forest over there. That's my forest, my mountainous forest area. I'll talk about that shortly. So more rocks from my garden, and I made a wax paper river. So I just took a piece of wax paper and made it skinny, like I just kind of wrinkled it up so that it was a long thin piece. And then I just put it down so that it ran from where my ice rink is and disappeared under the mountain there. And then I put rocks all around the edges so that you can see that the edges, like that, it's wax paper. And then I took this chunky glitter snow. It looks like this. And it's a very big pieces of glitter. Big pieces of glittery snow, I should say. So I'll find out the name of that and put it on for you because you can't see the name because of the twist tie. But I've had that for several years, and every year I use it pretty sparingly because it's quite chunky snow, and it's got this glittery feeling, so it looks like a frozen, well, if you use your imagination and blur your eyes a little bit, it looks like a frozen river. Because this is a Lemax bridge that my mom gave me a number of years back for my village, and I love to use it in this. This is sort of like the suburban area. So this would be like the city center of my village, and this is the suburbs where some more kind of leisure activities go on. And there's a church up there on the hill, and an ice rink and skate rental and somebody's house here. So that's what this area is. New to the village this year is a spotlight. There's actually 2 spotlights. I'll show you the other one later. And I did use some gardening wire to just put one of those little wreaths from Michael's that I put in the train, in the back of the train. I put one of them on each of my spotlights because the spotlight was looking a little bare and utilitarian, so I thought it needed some decorations. This is my ice skating rink, which is made by Lemax, and it has these boys playing hockey. I think they're boys. There might be a girl. Yep, there's a girl there, of course. Very good. This one has a ponytail, so I think she's a girl. And then this is a ice skating dog. He tried to ice skate, but he just can't stand up. Poor little fella. And the ice rink does come with a little hockey net, and that keeps getting knocked over by the hockey players, and a guy who's just getting skated up. And then these people, there's 2 or 3 different ice skating sets here. They're all from Lemax. Then these people are just getting ready as well. You can tell they're Lemax. They're not the nicest quality people in the world, but they add nice detail. And then my sister gave me this skate rental place one year for Christmas. And so this one says skate rentals, and there's some people lined up to get their skates. And then a little shelter here with some people putting their skates on, getting ready to go skating. And all of this kind of goes up from here. Remember I mentioned that I like to connect my areas, and other years I really haven't been able to do that. So I just took some stone. You can buy like here I have some brick. You can buy this little plastic mat that you can put on your village. And so I have brick here, and then I had some pieces of a stone one from a number of years ago with my village, and so I just cut it to make it look like it goes from there to there. And then if you put snow around the edges, you can't really tell that it's a square cutout or a rectangular cutout. So that brings you from kind of like across the tracks and from the city center into the suburban area, and then you go up here and down here. And then I took a piece of moss. It's a moss mat from Lemax makes it, and I got it at Michael's. And this moss mat, I just cut it in a curve so it goes from the bridge to the ice rink. And then I just cut, because it has a harsh edge that's very obviously cut by scissors, I just put some snow around the edges of it so that it looks more like the snow is like the ground is showing there because people have been walking there. So it's like a walked path. And then just more landscaping around here. It's mostly just rocks, and I tossed some snow on top of it and maybe a little bit of landscaping from the train store. So these little pieces of what looks like shrubs that stick out every here and there around the rocks, that is stuff that you can get from the model train store. This is the hobby shop in Halifax. And so I just put that in amongst things every here and there to make it look more natural, to make the landscaping look a little bit more natural. And then I sprinkled the whole thing with snow, and that's what I used there to make the rocks look more natural there on the edge of the tunnel. So my skating rink. So this whole area, because there's so many accessories here and so many different battery packs and wires and stuff have to run in order to light this area appropriately, there's all kinds of stuff underneath. So what I did was I just took a blanket of snow, like just the snow blankets that you can buy at Michael's or any place that sells village accessories, and I just covered the whole thing. So this is a piece of foam that I put under there to hold my tree, and then all of these lumps are battery packs and wires and things that run to the spotlights that you see every here and there. So there's a spotlight here, this spotlight, there's spotlights up there and over here and over there. Anyways, all of those are all wired around here. So that blanket just covers it up, and then it just looks like piles of snow. It doesn't look, I don't think it looks too bad anyways. But what I had to do was, because this is on this big platform, this big white plastic platform, not too different than this, and it looks very much like it's placed there. So what I wanted to do is have the blanket go right up to the edge, but then I cut a hole in the blanket so that the ice skaters could kind of go around it. But then there was this harsh edge where the blanket ended, and it looked weird. It looked like there was a blanket on my village, because there was. So what I did was, I used to, before I got this animated ice pond, what I used to do was make one out of wax paper and ivory snow detergent. And so I got my ivory snow detergent and just made a snowbank around the edge of it, so that it looks like somebody took a shovel. I really wish I had a shovel that I could stick in one of these snowbanks, but I don't. But I'm on the lookout for a shovel, which I might be able to get from the train store. Anyways, so what you do is you just take a bit of water and some ivory snow, and I just made a snowbank. And it's pretty crumbly because the cats have been on this village. This village gets invaded by giant felines on a regular basis. And so this has been torn apart several times and put back together again. So it's not looking so great. But really, I mean, real life snowbanks don't look that great either. They're just kind of all crumbled up, big hard pieces of snow. So it looks sort of realistic. It used to look nicer than this, but that's okay. So that's what that looks like. And yeah, I don't know if I really need to say much more about this area. Up here, this is I don't know if they're playing or if they're decorating the tree or chasing each other or what, but this is a little Lemax lighted accessory, and it's really cute. I just wanted to have some motion in my village, so I've been really, over the past couple of years, paying attention to putting some motion. So I do have this church, which is not my favorite building in the world, but my kids absolutely love this. It plays music, and it's very annoying, so I always have the music turned off. But it's their favorite, so I would love to get like a nicer church, but I'm going to keep that because the kids really like it. But anyways, so I've been trying to get some motion. So I definitely, next year, I'm going to have to do some, get something to add to there that has some movement in it. And there's a little Department 56 people throwing snowballs out of a snow fort that I would love to put in front of the mayor's house or in front of the TV station or something. So I might do that for next year. But anyways, for this year, I added this as my motion. Last year, my hockey rink was the motion that I added. And this was a spur of the moment purchase. I wasn't going to buy anything else because I had already bought the fire station, which I bought used, and the little accessories, which I bought. They were on eBay too, but I'm pretty sure they were never opened from their box. And I bought the tree. So I wasn't going to buy any more, but that was all pretty cheap because I got it on eBay for a pretty good deal. So I splurged and got the Lemax tree animated thing there. And I just put my own trees around the back of it so that it looks like it's sort of nestled in there. And that's another one of those snowman from Lemax right there. And then this is something I've had for a while. And I didn't really mean to have so many Dalmatians because there are Dalmatians as part of the fire truck people over there, but this I've already had for a while. This is Department 56, and it's a boy delivering newspapers, and then that's his friend pushing the bunch of newspapers, and then there's a dog with a tree, and the dog has a newspaper in his mouth as well. So he's delivering a newspaper to the church for some reason, because I wanted to spread out my little vignettes. I didn't want all of, last year he was outside of the mayor's house, but anyway, I'm just switching, oops, sorry about that. I'm just switching it up, so I put them outside the church, whether it makes sense or not. Got a tree tipping over here. So let me fix that. There we go. This is the church. It is a little half building, so it's not a full width, and it's meant to kind of go in the back and be against the wall, so that it doesn't take, you know, so that you can have village, like lots of village pieces, and they don't all take up so much space. So, and also I should mention that the mayor's house is a little half as well. It's almost like a facade. And so it has this little toggle here. I'll just play the music for a minute. It's got nice detail too. I mean, the Lemax isn't bad. This is by Lemax, and it's got this little sign out front that announces what this service is going to be about. So it's the bell chapel. It just plays this little loop of music that's quite nice for the first time, but then it gets a little tiresome eventually. So I'll turn that off. There we go. And so that's called the Bell Chapel, and it's by Lemax. And then this building here, I think it's called the Evans Residence. I think it's called the Evans Residence. Anyways, it's this really cute blue house, and it's all decorated for Christmas with all these bows and poinsettias, and it's really pretty. I like it a lot. It has a lot of detail. Again, I put another little tree out in front of it just for detail. And separate purchase was this little dog house with a dog in it. Right there, also by Lemax, as you can probably tell. Ooh, he's a little creepy if you get too close. Let's stay far away from him. Yeah, so that is the end of the suburbs, although here is the other side of the tunnel. It also has a little railway crossing light, and I painted and added some moss around the edges and some rocks and little bushes and stuff to make it look kind of realistic. And then on this little patch of land here that gets left by the train, I just put some squirrels, or I can't even tell what those creatures are because they're so badly painted, but there's a little tree stub, and I think they're squirrels, and then a ceramic tree also from the Lemax. So this is another new addition to this year. This is something my mother-in-law gave me last year because our family has a special place in our heart for maple syrup, because Papa, that's my father-in-law, used to make maple syrup every year, and so they gave me this maple syrup vignette, which I absolutely love. It shows these guys and they're doing a pour. And I haven't, so this is my new table, so everything from here over, the items aren't new, but the table, I used to do my whole village fit on this 6-foot table here, so I've added a little square table in the corner for my mountain and forest. And this is the piece that I've been waiting and wanting for a very long time, and I got it this year, and there's a story behind it, so I'll talk about that in a second. But, well, I'll talk about it now. So this is broken. And my heart broke because it really only lasted a day. It didn't even really last a day. It lasted like the skiers. It comes, I took it all apart so you can't even see how nice it is, but I'll do another video that shows it when it's ready, hopefully this year. So there's a rope tow and these skiers go down these two different paths, and there's two skiers and a snowboarder, and it's awesome and I really love it, but the motor broke as soon as I used it. The motor just like it didn't work, like it just stopped working. I turned it on and it worked, and then turned it off and boom, it didn't work. Nothing happened, it just didn't work. So anyways, the guy who I bought it from is sending me a new motor, and I'm hoping to be able to put it together before Christmas. So I've put all of this together very kind of loosely, and I haven't done any finishing work because I'm going to have to take this whole thing out, put the motor in it, and then put it back, and that's going to dishevel all of this stuff. So I don't want to spend too much time making all the decorations around it perfect at this point. So everything here is roughly finished. So for example, you see this harsh edge between where that blanket snow ends and the moss begins. Well, I had harsh edges all over here too, but I just finished them off with a sprinkling of snow. So like especially around here, you know, you can't really see where the grass begins and the dirt ends. And that's because I sprinkled snow. So I didn't bother sprinkling snow here because it's going to get moved and disturbed. But anyways, this is my little forest, and it's by Lemax, this little maple syrup thing, and I put some trees behind it and some more Lemax deciduous trees, and also some trees from my yard, just some little, I think they're blueberry bushes. And so it includes this piece here that has the horse and the syrup and the two guys, and then this guy here who's carrying a bucket, and then this tree with two buckets on it. And it's the same kind of tree that's ceramic, and then these branches are bendable. So, and I just put another ceramic tree there, and that's my little spot, and I've got it lit with a little spotlight because it's pretty dark back there otherwise. So once I finish this off, there'll be snow around there so that that's not like an obviously placed, and that these trees aren't obviously placed there, and so that there's not an obvious line here. So that's that. And then out here I have these children playing. This is a Lemax piece that I've had for a very long time. And then this is a Disney Village. It's Minnie's bakery, and I bought this at Disney when we went as a family not too long ago, a couple of years back. And then this was the inside of a glass ornament that broke one year, and so I just thought it was the right size. So more Dalmatians. It seems to be a Dalmatian village here. And so that's Minnie's bakery, and it's more snow-filled than the other building, so I thought it was appropriate to put it in this snowy mountainous area. Then another coffee shop. I felt like I needed to spread the coffee shops out so that this poor little independent coffee shop owner would have a chance of competing against the Starbucks that's down the road there. So I put him in the forest instead, and he can cater to the skiers who stay at the chalet. This is Lemax. And so is this. This was my other first piece. So I think my very first village only had this coffee shop and this bed and breakfast right there. Those were my two buildings at first. And they're both Lemax. And the cafe is really cute. I'll show you the details of it. There's little people inside drinking their coffee. And it's actually a bookstore and a cafe. And so I have some landscaping around the edges that have been knocked over by the cats, and I didn't bother to put it back again. I'll show you the Disney one close up. It doesn't really have any windows that you can see through. They're just frosted windows, so you can't really see inside of them, but they're cute. It's a cute one. And then the ski chalet, it's Johann's Chalet Inn, it's called. And it has a sign and some skis, and I put some other trees around it. And then I built this village, this mountaintop out of styrofoam. I'm not in love with it. I actually kind of hate it, but it'll do for a couple of years until I can figure out, like, I don't do this very often, so I don't really have the greatest carving skills or anything. And I also had limited styrofoam because styrofoam is actually really, really expensive to buy. And so I just had to use little pieces that were packaging from other things that we bought throughout the year. So I was really limited in what kind of pieces I had. Anyhow, I've nestled some animals amongst the trees and stuff here. So I have a couple of deer and some bunnies, and there's a fox somewhere too. There's the fox right there. And as I mentioned, like, I haven't been very careful about the wiring or anything because this is all pretty tentative at this point, and it's all just a big blanket over some boxes and pieces of foam and stuff over here. So that is my village. Thanks so much for watching it. I guess it was a long one, but thanks for coming along. Let me know if you want me to share my process. I'd be happy to put it up because I do have the footage. The other thing that I've added this year was I added this skirt. And I just bought some Christmas fabric, but I wanted it to be pretty, whoops, tripping over my tripod. I wanted it to be pretty neutral, so the other things in the room are fairly dark and woody, so there's lots of browns and stuff from the floor to the table to the chairs and the buffet, and everything in here is pretty dark reddish brown. And so I got this fabric. It has pine cones and little holly berries on it, and I thought it would make a good neutral backdrop because I wanted the village to be the main attraction. I didn't want a bright colorful fabric that would detract at all from the village. So I really like how it looks. I sewed it together super fast. It's not the nicest handiwork in the world, but it is it covers the horrendous mess that is under my table. There is a huge mess of both wires, and I also ended up, this year is the first year because I have the skirt, this is the first year that I can keep all of the boxes for all of these items right underneath of the table, so I don't have to worry about putting them back someplace, all those empty boxes. So that was kind of nice. I also have extra foam and I keep my extra snow and stuff under there so that if I have to do any touch-ups after the cats invade my village, I can do that. So again, thanks for watching, everybody. Have a holly jolly scrappy week.